Joined now by the head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Kirk Ferentz, joining us from Iowa City. Coach, a year of transition for you. You've had incredible continuity during your time in Iowa City. Same coordinators on both sides of the ball. Now Norm Parker retiring, Ken O'Keefe moving on to an NFL opportunity. What has this been like for you to have new people in charge on each side of the ball?
It's certainly been different and very unique for us. As you mentioned, Dave, 13 straight years with the same two coordinators. Just feel extremely fortunate from that standpoint. Both Norm and Ken are outstanding football coaches, tremendous people, and totally committed to everything about the program and the university. So we've been so fortunate. And, two contrasts, I guess, on defense. We've elevated Phil Parker. Darrell Wilson has assumed Phil's role as the secondary coach. Reese Morgan transitioned over the defensive line from the offensive line, and then LeVar Woods has taken over our linebacker position. And the four of those guys are just working great. Not radical change from what we've done in the past, but some tweaks and what have you. And the chemistry really appears to be good with those guys, so very pleased about that. And then on the offensive side, a little bit different, certainly going outside and bringing Greg Davis in. And just so pleased that he was available and willing to come here. Heard nothing but great things about Greg from people that I really respect and trust. And now after working with Greg for 2 months, I can't tell you just how impressed I've been with him. He's a tremendous fit here on campus and just an outstanding football coach. So we're very fortunate to have him, and I think all of our players and coaches feel the same way.
As you said, I do think there's a little more intrigue on the offensive side just because it is someone from the outside. How will that impact your offensive philosophy?
Well, it remains to be seen, but I had a very open mind, and we've talked about this. Even if Ken had stayed here and Norm had stayed in place, I think after 13 years, we probably really need to go back and do some house cleaning. Just go back and re-examine everything we're doing to make sure that we haven't fallen in a rut in any regard. Special teams the same way. So, having changed has kind of forced that a little bit, and Greg comes in with some new ideas, not totally disjointed from where we were at, but I think he's got some new ideas that are exciting. If you look at his resume, 10-year span, Texas, I think they led all BCS schools in terms of scoring. And you can say they had some good players, but other schools had some good players during that time period as well. And Greg's coaching a lot of big games. I think he has a lot of great ideas. But as impressive as anything to me is, if you look at his resume in total, he's worked with all kinds of different quarterbacks, different type players. And it goes back to when he was at North Carolina and even Georgia, coached with Eric Zaire there, who I was with in Cleveland. So, just go back, the depth of his resume is really impressive. And I think, he just brings in a little bit different perspective and has some ideas I think that are going to fit well in our program.
Coach, more bad luck at running back this spring with the injury to Jordan Canzeri. You have Marcus Coker, of course, moving on. Do you ever just stop at a certain point and shake your head and wonder what it is with that position?
Well, I did in October of 2000. It wasn't that position. It was our line position. I'll never forget Sam Aiello. One of our backs ran right into his back, and he had some back problems before that. That night, it was a Wednesday night, I went home and started wondering. We were playing Ohio State that Saturday. I started wondering, maybe this isn't meant to be, but that's about the only moment I've had like that in 13-plus years being back here. So, it's part of the game. It's really unfortunate. I really feel bad for Jordan. Most importantly, he's a tremendous young guy, a player we think has a good future, but it was a non-contact injury, and it's part of the game. It's the toughest part about the game, probably. The good news is his surgery went well. He'll do a great job with his rehab, and if he's able to make it back next year, that's great, but we're going to do what's best for him, first and foremost. That being said, Damon Bullock and DeAndre Johnson are both doing a good job this spring. We have two good young players coming in, Barkley Hill and Greg Garman, and we'll coach the guys that are out there. They're healthy and willing to go, and I'm confident by the time September comes around, we'll have somebody or more than one somebody ready to go and play well at that position.
The run defense, you've been so good in that area throughout the years, and it wasn't quite up to Iowa standards last spring, and now last year, I should say, and now this spring you've lost some people, obviously due to graduation, players moving on, particularly at the defensive line spot. What do you expect to see, and what have you seen from that group?
Yeah, we saw that coming last 2 years. I look at it as a 2-year block. We had 3 guys that are playing well in the NFL right now as rookies a year ago that were seniors, in 2010, and then Last year, we actually had 5 seniors in the defensive line. So we knew over that 2-year period we were going to have some real graduation issues, at least in terms of experience out there in the field. We went through their offensive line really in that 2008-2009 period. And the guys in 2010 really responded well. And based on what I've seen in 8 spring workouts, really pleased with the progress those guys are making right now. I mentioned Jordan Canzeri a little while ago. We have 2 of our players, Dom Alvis, who played well last year, and also Carl Davis, who we think is going to be a good player. They're out right now. They had surgery in the out of season, so they're really not working with the defense, but we think they'll be ready to go in June. And I'm really impressed with the way the guys are responding right now. We're not ready to play by any stretch, but I think we have some good young players that are working hard right now. Reese Morgan's doing a great job with those guys. And when September rolls around, we'll be ready to go. And the other thing, I think we'll get better as the season goes on. So that's something I'm really encouraged about.
So you have the final spring scrimmage coming up here on Saturday. What will you be watching most closely?
Yeah, sort of. We extended things a little bit this year, Dave. We actually added 1 week on and restricted or cut back some of our workouts in the week. So this Saturday will be our 12th workout, I believe. And then we didn't open it up to the public the next week, mainly because of the wrestling. Got the Olympic wrestling trials here, and it's going to be mayhem for parking and all that type of thing with all the wrestling crowd being here. But we're 8 workouts into it now. We'll be at 12 on Saturday, and the big thing is just I want to see continued progress. I think that's what we're all hoping to see. The guys have worked hard. Their attitude's been outstanding. I do think we're making progress. Some days you go backwards a little bit, but that's part of spring practice. But I think overall we're making strides. We're a relatively young football team, so there's a real opportunity to make progress. And I think the big thing for our football team right now is to maximize every workout here this weekend next, and then we'll turn to the summer phase in June and then go from there. But so far so good, and just hope we continue to make progress.
Kirk Ferentz, head coach of the Hawkeyes. Coach, thanks a lot and best of luck the rest of the way here in the spring.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me on.